Two men in polos with the word enforcement stitched across their chests blocked my path at the gate, holding up a crooked stamped paper and telling me my 13-year-old daughter was under arrest. That was the second my chest went cold, because I've been a Marine long enough to know when I'm looking at real authority and when I'm staring down play-acting thugs. And this time the script they were reading from had teeth. The morning had been calm sprinklers ticking on the lawns, Emily chatting about her science quiz as her backpack bounced with each step. I walked with her, not because she needed me to, but because I had that gut instinct eyes had been on us for weeks. The so-called HOA patrols in golf carts, clipboards, and radios handing out tickets for trash cans and lawn heights, always circling. And now, two men blocking the gate like sentries. No county seal on their shirts, no badge numbers, just smug expressions and an arrogance that set my blood boiling. They didn't even look at me first. They looked at her. That's what lit the fuse. One of them shoved the fake warrant at me. The word warrant tilted sideways in cheap ink. Emily froze, eyes wide. I didn't raise my voice. Marines don't need to. I told them straight. You touch her, and you'll wish you stayed home this morning. For the first time I saw the doubt flicker in his eyes. But doubt doesn't stop stupid, and one of them reached toward her. I pivoted, drove my shoulder into his chest, sent the paper flying into the gutter. My boots planted firm on the asphalt. Behind me, Emily whispered, "Dad, what's happening?" My answer was short. "Stay behind me. Don't say a word." The second guy cursed, fumbling for his radio. I lifted my phone, hit record, raised my voice loud enough for every curtain on the block to twitch open. These men are impersonating police. That single sentence shifted the entire street. Phones came up. Witnesses leaned out their doors. Exposure, the one thing these guys couldn't risk. They scattered. But I knew right then this wasn't over. Hours later, a call came from the county sheriff's department. Officer Miller. He'd had complaints filed against me by our HOA president, Richard Graves. The same Graves I'd seen in a suit at board meetings puffing his chest, talking about order. Now he was spinning the story, saying I assaulted his contracted officers. Miller came out, watched my footage, muttered, "That's impersonation. That's unlawful detention." But even he warned me, they've got money lawyers and a narrative they're pushing. That night a letter slid under my door. Emily's name in bold, accused of endangering community order. Daily fines threatened. Removal proceedings for a kid. Emily asked me, "Dad, can they really do this?" I told her no, but deep down I knew this wasn't about rules, it was about control. Fear as a weapon. And fear only works if you bow your head. The next days proved it. HOA patrols circled slow, stopping in front of my driveway, scribbling fake notes. Neighbors split into sides, some offering cookies and whispered support, others avoiding eye contact after Graves threatened their exemptions. Then came the petition. Names lined up neatly, some belonging to people who'd moved out years ago, even one who was dead. My daughter stared at it, voice cracking. They're treating us like criminals. I told her, it's not about rules, it's about control, and we're not going to give them what they want. Still, I'll admit it, there were nights when I wanted to cave. Sitting at the table with those violation slips spread out like poison cards, I caught myself wondering, maybe I should just back down, pay the fines, let it blow over. Maybe I was dragging my family into a war they didn't sign up for. But then I'd see Emily's hands trembling, or my wife's eyes when she found her name smeared in an anonymous complaint at school. That was the moment of doubt, wondering if maybe I was the problem. And then it hit me. No, the problem is a bully with a board title who thinks he's above the law. And if I bend, then every family here bends after me. That was all I needed to steady myself again. I set trail cameras along the fence line, caught their men in the act at night, hammering stakes to redraw my property lines, whispering about making the file airtight. I confronted them with a flashlight, recorded every word. Evidence wins wars as much as rifles, I told Emily. And neighbors started handing me their own evidence flyers, envelopes, even ledgers showing rerouted checks. Piece by piece, I was building a case. Then came the HOA meeting. Graves sat at the front of the clubhouse like a judge, silver hair combed tight, microphone in hand. He boomed to the room. "This resident has obstructed lawful enforcement, endangered our officers, spread misinformation." He held up a packet thick as a court file. The crowd murmured. Some nodded, some frowned. Graves had been poisoning the well for weeks. Then he looked straight at my daughter when he spoke about hostile conduct in the presence of minors. That's when I stood. Calm, deliberate. "Richard, let's clear something up. Your officers impersonated police, tried to detain my daughter with a fake warrant. That's a crime." Gasps. Phones came up. Graves forced a smile, tried to dismiss me with some statute nonsense. I cut him off, held up the crumpled paper I'd saved. No seal, no legitimacy, just forgery. I played the video, the guard saying, "Your daughter needs to come with us," followed by my voice, steady and cold. "You touch her, and you'll wish you hadn't." The room erupted. Shouts, neighbors, pointing people demanding answers. Graves's gavel pounded uselessly. My daughter leaned toward me, whispered, "Dad, they believe you." That was the turning point. He still had lawyers and cronies, but he'd lost the one thing he couldn't buy back: trust. But Graves wasn't finished. The very next week I was served with a lawsuit, $250,000 defamation and harassment. A move designed not to win, but to bleed us dry. At the same time, two rough-looking men started hanging around. One night they blocked my truck at the end of the street. Cigarette breath, smug sneers. "Drop the fight. Think of your wife, your kid." One poked my chest with a finger. That was his mistake. I twisted his wrist, pinned him to my hood, growled low, "Go ahead, reach for that belt. See how it ends." A sheriff's cruiser rolled up. Right then, an old academy buddy. He cuffed both of them. Graves's bluff had turned into a criminal charge. Finally the day came in court. Graves strutted in with his lawyer witnesses, lined up photos doctored to make me look like a violent nutcase. For a moment sitting there I felt the weight. What if the judge believed them? What if this destroyed my family? But then my attorney opened our evidence. Boxes of fraudulent invoices, forged petitions, video of those hired thugs circling my house, an affidavit from a neighbor tying it all straight back to Graves. When the judge asked for my response, I didn't shout, didn't rant. I stood and said, "I'm a Marine. I don't bow to bullies, and I won't let anyone terrorize my family or this community." The courtroom buzzed. Graves tried to interrupt, his face red, but the judge silenced him. And when our financial records hit the screen, tens of thousands siphoned into shell accounts, contracts, doubled kickbacks traced directly to Graves, his smirk finally broke. The ruling came: swift case dismissed with prejudice, independent audit ordered, and a criminal investigation launched. Graves stormed out shouting about conspiracies, cameras flashing in his face. Weeks later, deputies marched him out of his mansion in handcuffs. That should have been the end. Neighbors brought casseroles, shook my hand, said, "You were right all along." For the first time in months, Emily smiled without forcing it. But late one night, an envelope slid under my door. Inside, a grainy photo of me and my daughter walking into the courthouse. On the back block, letters read, "You stopped Graves." But Graves was never the top of the ladder. And that's where the story ends for now. Because in life, just like in war, there's always someone higher up the chain. Lessons simple bullies only win when you let them. And the second you stand your ground, their whole empire starts to crack.